Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today we're discussing a model launched in 2008. That was a year when a lot of vintage-inflected IWC models came out, and this is the IWC Vintage Pilot's Watch. It's reference 3254-01 in stainless steel, and it reflects the design features of the first IWC Pilot's Watch of 1936. It's 44 millimeters in diameter, but fairly slim at 11.7 millimeters thick and 53.2 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip. 22 millimeters is the spacing between the lugs. The watch is broad and flat, and in a lot of regards, it wears more like a Portugueser than it does a big pilot's watch. On my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, you can see it is a large watch. If it were an airplane, we would say it has an impressive wingspan, and it's right out to the edge. I'll let you decide whether this is the largest wrist that shouldn't wear the watch or the smallest wrist that should wear the watch. But again, my wrist is 16 centimeters circumference, and because it is so thin, there's going to be no trouble fitting this under a cuff in any case. It's equipped with a Brogioli manufactured full mesh bracelet, which is an impressive thing. Now, it could be that the bracelet itself is made by Stabe, and then the buckle is made by Brogioli. Stabe is a German company famous for making mesh bracelets, and then Brogioli, which is located in Ticino in Switzerland, is famous for making clasps, but it may be Brogioli, which is a longtime supplier to IWC, fabricated both. The hardware is all steel. You can see that we have a buckle, and then we actually have something fascinating inside the buckle. There is a little articulated clamp that comes down to hold the bracelet resolutely in the clasp, because it's not a conventional system. You can see there is no perforation in the bracelet. It works like a strap in that it's crimped and locked by the buckle, but it doesn't actually have a perforation, so there has to be enough locking force in order to hold it and prevent it from pulling through the clasp, and that's what this little pivoted lock is for. So you have quite a bit of security when this is closed on your wrist. Also, it has that wonderful quality of mesh bracelets of feeling more like a piece of fabric than metal. Now, it's got vintage-inspired straight bar junction with the lugs, so we have that wonderful 20th century look that's a little bit primitive, but legitimately and also deliberately. It's a cool, raw, early to mid-20th century aesthetic. The case, again, it's almost more like a Portugueser than a pilot's watch. The lugs are broken out from the case band. That makes it a bit different from a Portugueser, but it's very narrow in profile, like a Portuguese would be, and like very few pilot's watches are. We have this satination and profile, polish on the lug hoods. They're actually nicely tapered. We have a crown that is anything but a generic piece. You can see it's inverse conical profiled, with the IWC Proboscifusia motto on it. We have here a captive bezel, a rare application of this system on an IWC watch. The use of screws fixes the bezel to the case so it's not snapped on, and so it can't accidentally be snapped off. This is a robust system we see on sports watches from RGM, Zinn, Breitling, but very few others. So it's impressive to see it here, and perhaps the reason it's been used is because this is a rotating bezel. Now, it feels as though it's sliding on either a Teflon bearing or some sort of Norglide. It's not indexed, it slides, but it slides very smoothly. And as you can see, it's a timing bezel, but it's a very primitive one, as you have an index, but then nothing else. So you're going to have to approximate the passage of time. What it does have, however, is an inner knurled face that's very easy to grip. We have a dial of matte black, and there is a lume. We're going to take a look at it now. As you can see, the bezel index is loomed, so you can keep track of the passage of time in the dark. We have this wonderful vintage font and cathedral-style hands, a matte black base, and sub-seconds, all evocative of history. Now you can see it actually has very little dead angle, almost no dead angle, making this one of the most responsive crowns I've ever experienced. So the quality of the train from the keyless works in through the motion works, it's very precise. There's almost no turn of the crown that doesn't result in a leap of the hands, and it sits very, very easily. We also have a somewhat sunken sub-seconds. Wind this up and get it fired up. This watch does feature a hacking seconds function, which you saw just before. and then a pocket watch-sized movement. This is a magnificent machine. It's the IWC 98300 manufacturer manual wind caliber, 37.8 millimeters in diameter. This is very much a pocket watch movement inside a wristwatch. Now you can see it has a lot of pocket watch elements too, including a 3/4 bridge, a slow 18,000 vibration per hour rate, an enormous balance, a hand-curved overcoil hairspring, and a vintage-inspired IWC Jones Arrow Index extended micrometric regulator. So you can see manual wind, 46-hour power reserve, 2.5 hertz, 18 joules, adjusted in 5 positions, which is the high horology and chronometer standard. And if you look carefully, you can actually see the enormous hacking lever adjacent to the balance. So that's how the stop seconds function works. The overcoil hairspring ensures that in just about any position, the watch is going to keep a very consistent time. That's why you use an overcoil. We have this lovely, evocative pocket watch style click and click spring. You can see we have a swan's neck click spring and then an extensible click to prevent the watch from running backward. The crown wheel and the ratchet wheel atop the barrel are beautifully solarized and beveled. We have stripes across the bridges, golden chaton fixing the pivot jewels as they would have been assembled in the pocket watch era. We also have polished screw heads, the black polished micrometric index, engine turning on the base plate, and a mechanically applied but very neat and attractive bevel. And then all of this is water resistant down to 60 meters. If you love this watch, reach out to me. I am T Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing.